Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. Not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Welcome back. From the Daily Wire. New York City BLM leader threatens riots, bloodshed if mayor-elect follows through on promise to police. Who the hell is he? I tell the sitting mayor, my understanding is New York City is the largest city in the country, bigger than many states, how to and where to put police. These people actually think they're in charge. Let's read on. A New York City Black Lives Matter group threatened New York City Mayor-elect Eric Adams with riots and bloodshed if Adams restores the New York City Police Department's anti-crime units. Oh, Lord, there's something terrible. Now, we'll say that putting an anti-crime unit stops crimes, which it does. It's how they stop crimes. Okay, so we use a little bit of reform, and what they do? Probably. And that's not what these guys want. Let's read on. When I say these guys, I mean BLM and the progressive types. The police anti-crime units were suspended last year in reaction to Black Lives Matter protests and riots and calls to defund police departments. Adams, a Democrat, won election after campaigning on a tough-on-crime agenda and pledging to restore NYPD's anti-crime units. Adams met with leaders of New York City's Black Lives Matter movement at Brooklyn's Borough Hall. After the meeting, Hawk Newsom, co-founder of Black Lives Matter of Greater New York, and his sister Shavana Newsom, also co-founder of the group, threatened civil unrest and violence if Adams kept his campaign pledge. If he thinks they're going back to the old ways of policing, they are going to take to the streets again. There will be riots. There will be fire and there will be bloodshed because we believe in defending our people, Newsom told the Daily News after the meeting. There is no way that he's going to let some Gestapo come in here and harm our people, he continued. We pray for peace, but prepare for the worst. Nonsense. Nonsense. Violence has always been their number one priority. Civil unrest, basically extortion. Now, could they use some reforms in how policing is done? Yeah, probably. But bringing back police and an anti-crime unit? No, these people think they're in charge. Here's the thing. Let's investigate a little bit. It'd be interesting to see how Mr. Newsom and Miss Newsom, I wonder how much money they've made in the last 3 years off of Black Lives Matter. I bet you they live pretty well, I'll bet. Since now, my understanding is nationwide in polls, there's just as many people against the Black Lives Matter organization as there is for it. But let's read on what Mr. Newsom really thinks. His sister said, we will shut the city down, we will shut down City Hall, and we'll give them hell and make it a nightmare. That's extortion. Pure and simple. That's not protesting. That's not the civil rights movement of the 1960s. That's not Dr. King's peaceful marches on Selma and other places. They hold Dr. King in contempt. And all these people do. During the meeting, Adams erupted at Newsom after the BLM leaders swore to hold Adams responsible for any future misconduct by the New York Police Department, according to the Daily News. You're on the ground. Stop the violence in my community. I'm holding you accountable. But yet, here's the funny part. What's the vast majority of the violence in his so-called community? We'll call it the black community. I hate to do that, but we'll just say this for the sake of argument. Black on black crime. New York, Chicago. Chicago's the worst, of course. This is New York. Where's your accountability for black on black crime? You want to stop the violence in your community. No, you don't care if young black men kill other young black men by the thousands. You get this from Mr. Newsom. Yeah. It's only when a police officer is involved with deadly force that all of a sudden it matters. You're the same people that won't allow people in neighborhoods, innocent, hardworking people, low-income people, to exercise their Second Amendment right, protect themselves. Bet you the violence would stop. But unfortunately, with the patchwork laws we have of the Second Amendment all over the country, with New York being one of the worst, they're held hostage and defenseless. But yet you say nothing about that. Interesting, isn't it? I wonder how much money your organization brings in. Don't hold me accountable, the mayor continued. Being the mayor, being the borough president, being the state senator, I put my body on the line for my community. So I'm not here for folks to come and say, Eric, we're going to hold you accountable. No, it's us. We need to do this together, and they're not interested in that. This is what they really think. Last year, Newsom suggested that his group could use violence and chaos to push his political goals while claiming self-defense. Yeah, it's like you go up and punch somebody in the face, and then when they defend themselves, you point at them and say they're the violent ones. It's nonsense. It's their favorite trick, by the way. If this country doesn't give us what we want, we will burn down the system and replace it, he said in June 2020 interview with Fox News. All right. I could be speaking figuratively. I could be speaking literally. It's a matter of interpretation. This guy's an ass. Let's be very real and observe the history of the 1960s when black people were rioting. We had the highest growth in wealth and property ownership. Are you kidding me? Through the 1990s and before the current president we have, unemployment for blacks in this country was the lowest it's ever been in history. Wages were finally going up. And then, of course, you know what came in when they shut everything down. Can't use the word because the algorithm's bad enough already. The New York Police Department eliminated its anti-crime unit earlier that same month, reassigning roughly 600 officers from the units to other posts of the NYPD. At the time, NYPD Commissioner Dermot Shea defended the decision as a chance to move forward and change how we police. Could use some reforms? Yeah. This is 21st century policing, intelligence, data, shot spotter, video, DNA, and building prosecutable cases. It continues to be building these cases on a small number of people that unfortunately still terrorize a part of the city. I would consider this in the realm of closing on one of the last chapters on Stop, Question, and Frisk. Stop and Frisk was there's strong feelings on both sides, but that's not what they're talking about. When an individual says, we will, if you don't do what we want, we will burn down the whole system and rebuild it. That's what they really want. If you remember, on the National Black Lives Matter webpage, they said one of their goals was to disintegrate and get rid of the nuclear family, i.e., mother and father and children. Get rid of the father. They want to be the parents. They want to be the ones that raise children. They want to be the ones that indoctrinate them in schools. They want control. This isn't about justice. This isn't about equality. It's about power and control and money. I used to think that maybe letting these people just burn themselves out over time as the American people see that they're full of it, that they really don't care about the community they supposedly represent. All they care about themselves, their personal power, the narcissism they have, and the money they're stuffing in their pockets. They figured, well, people dumb enough to give money to them, that's their loss. Well, not anymore. We have to push back non-violently. Every time you see somebody start running their mouth about this nonsense, and I know it's tiring, and I know it's just draining physically and mentally. But these people are cult members. And the ones that aren't cult members are big-time grifters. Anything that puts money in their wallet, they're interested. And they pretend to give a damn about the people they supposedly are oppressed. Just not even talking about young black men killing other young black men. Just avoiding that issue makes them fake and phony and grifters. We need to push back at every single one of them. Yes, it's going to be tough. Yes, it's draining physically and mentally. And yes, some of us might lose our jobs or lose friends or family members for that matter. But the battle is on. The battle is on. Ignoring them and hope they burn out and the American people will see better has not been a strategy that's been working. These people think they are in control, and they're not. The average everyday citizen is in control. And this is a new mayor, former police officer, and borough president. I was a fan of his until after he won the Democratic primary, which we all know in New York City is the same as general election. And the first thing he did was go to the White House and kiss President Biden's behind and came out and did a press conference, did all the talking points they wanted him to say, and I was incredibly disappointed. So I thought maybe this individual was different. We'll see. We'll see. Being a former police officer, he's got some law and order blood in him. So we'll see what goes on. Will BLM make good with their threat? We'll see. But anybody that threatens to tear down the whole system, if we don't do what they want, is fascist by definition. And it always, always, always must be pushback. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.